the road to the World Championship winds its way to the home of British motorsports. Live today from the virtual Silverstone, the Porsche Heuer Esports Supercup qualifying series lands up at the Silverstone International layout for round 2 of 6 as drivers jockey their way to put themselves forward as one of 15 Porsche contenders later on in 2022. Hello everyone and welcome to RaceSpotTV. Welcome to the road to the World Championship. It's just myself, Arjuna Kankipati, along for the ride today, but excited to have your company as we see who will emerge on top today after Luke Bennett's victory 7 days ago. Live timing and scoring will be available, powered by our partners at ATBO. Head to RaceSpot.tv/timing to follow along with your favorite team and drivers in this top split of what is bound to be almost 5+ splits of competition. Building from last week when excitement was high, anticipation was ready for drivers as they headed over to the Hockenheim ring for round 1 of the qualifying series. Today is no different. A couple of new faces joining the party, a couple of others, unfortunately, having to step aside. I saw on social media that Bo Albert, after a tough round 1 for him in the qualifying series, will be missing round 2, but we'll see what his teammate Simona Maria Marchenu can do after finishing 4th just 7 days ago. In a season of slightly unusual and tricky layouts of familiar tracks, we head to Silverstone and the international layout. We use the new pit straight and the new pit building and then cut our way to the right before we head on to the Wellington straight. Cut back onto the track midway through Maggots and Beckett's. I think I got that one right, probably didn't. Onto the Hangar Straight, up to Stowe, and then around a lap. It's a shorter lap, yes. Maybe we'll see some more passing opportunities because it will be easier to get the run onto that Hangar Straight on the run up into Stowe to try and get something done. Of course, after this, Red Bull Ring, a trip over to America, a return to Germany, and then over to Italy on our only full layout of any track. I think Watkins Glen, not just a birthday treat for myself, but the Bull Ring style layout of the Classic. It's almost like an oval there. Be very difficult to fight, much more like a super speedway style of race. Cannot wait for that one as it will kick off the back half of the championship. What is the format? How are we getting through the course of this championship? Well, out of the 2022 Porsche Heuer Esports Supercup, the top 15 retained their eligibility for 2023. 16th through 30th, go to the Porsche Contender Series later on this year. They'll be watching on with great intrigue as to how their competitors are doing, while the final 5 drivers from last year's Super Cup have been dropped down to the bottom rung this qualifying series, where they fight with those looking to step their way on forward. 15 Porsche contenders will rise at the end of this qualifying series, where 15 more spots in the Esports Super Cup for 2023 will be on the line. Over the last couple of years, we've been reducing the number of slots available on our grid. It means each of the spots is more exclusive. Each of the spots becomes that much more difficult to try and obtain. 1 race done, 6, of course, on the schedule. Let's run you down through the series standings. And, of course, most importantly, the fact that you don't just have to be in this top split of competition will bring new faces to the arena. Kevin Nielsen won Split 2 7 days ago. He sits 3rd in these qualifying points and only 28 behind Luke Bennett of Team Redline, who walked away with the victory from the Hockenheim ring after bullying his way past Lasse back in turn 1, getting the jump on the start. Luca Kita for Urano finished 3rd. He drops behind Nielsen, but of course significant that you can use a 2nd, 3rd splits to build your way forward. Your I rating will grow as well, and maybe by the time you get to the end of the season, you will end up in this top split of competition. So we'll grab a look at some qualifying action with about 4 minutes left to go on our qualifying clock. Most drivers have lap times already set at this shortened layout of the Silverstone here at the international layout. There you see 4 minutes left on that qualifying clock. Some new faces that I see in the field, the likes of Kake Oliveira, that 22 car, Dylan Shrivens as well, who's qualified provisionally down in 14th, but back-to-back provisional poles for Lasse back, a man on fire, I tell you. 2 cars, no lap time set. One of them is Christian Lamella, as Lauren Benso across the line will jump up into 13th. David Bosca up into 7th, but Christian Lamella, no lap time for him. Andre Melchers as well, the R8G driver, waiting for a lap time from him. But here's a look at that MSI Esports machine of Christian Lamella. Of course, we've seen over the last couple of years MSI and Apex working closely together. It started with Alejandro Sanchez, who's now part of the Apex Racing team, but Christian Lamella, a feisty driver in his own regard, and even though they lost Sanchez, we've seen some strong performances from MSI. The BMW Sim GT Cup, here comes the number 15, winding up through the final corner. We'll get a second lap on the board as well. A 102.8 is the benchmark to beat. He puts in a 103.5. It's good enough for 27, so it's all going to be about this second lap through turn 1. Use the curb on the inside because it's nice and flat, and sweep your way down into this tricky complex. Braking at the 100, got to be careful of the anti-cut curbs here, because if you bounce over them too much, you lose the momentum. Build the speed up here rather than getting on the anchors. You get on the anchors using the kitty litter on the left-hand side as your braking reference, and sweep the car all the way to the outside and run yourself onto the hanger straight. Lamella looking nice and tidy. Indication is a couple of tenths gained, and when qualifying is as close as it is, a tenth or two could put him up potentially inside of the top 20. Going to be important for him. The off-camber Stowe corner next pushes away from you as you get onto the power. Lamella four-wheeled outside of the white line, but should be okay. Final time onto the brakes, into the Vale. Again, nice and tidy as get onto the power and sweep that momentum all the way to the line. Will there be an improvement for the Spaniard? 4/10 almost of an improvement. It will jump him up into the top 15, delivering when the pressure is on. Andre Melchers to the line to start what will be his second qualifying attempt. His first attempt invalidated, pushing the limits of the track just that little bit too far. Split livery for R8G, loving this new development that's got the Andretti Autosport DHL yellow on the front, and then the traditional R8G colors adorning the rest of it. Melcher switching over from the Urano team that he had been with for a couple of years over now to R8G, was on hand during that Predator Cup that RaceSpot's own Lewis McLeod was commentating on a couple of weeks ago, as well as Martin van Lozenoord to hand out the prizes. For Melchers, though, will be the final car to come across the line to put in any sort of a lap time. What's it gonna be? No banker for him to fall back on. Was that weighing on the back of his mind? A 2.8, the benchmark, a 2.96 into the top 5, and the final car across the line. The pressure is on for Andre Melchers. He delivered when he needed to do so. My oh my, what a way to get yourself ready for what's bound to be an electric 28 laps of racing here today. Let's run you down then through the starting grid for this round 2 of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup qualifying series. It's back-to-back pole positions for Lasse back in the fire at SimSport number 7. He'll line up alongside Valentin Mandenark, the young Frenchman looking for a second World Championship license, 9 thousandths off the pace. Alexander Spetz joins us in the number 1 machine for Williams Esports. Matthias Jensen for the Apex Academy shares row 2 with that number 1 car. Andre Melchers late in the day but got onto the board. Moritz Lohner will be alongside on row number 3. What an accomplished driver he is with real-world experience as well. Gustavo Ariel, David Bosca on row number 4. Rounding out the top 10, it will be Kevin Nielsen and Gabby Montoro, while Juan Blainett and Kake Oliveira for Rincon Racing and Oak Racing Team will line up alongside one another. Damon Woods for Vendaval back in 13th, sharing a row with Lauren Benzo for the Monaco Esports team. Vendaval's Dylan Burst lines up behind his teammate with Christian Lamella's number 15 alongside, while Oscar Mangan, no longer of course Sim Racing, sharing some rather familiar Porsche colors on that 911 GT3 Cup car alongside Dylan Shrivens in the Urano Esports number 11. Valtteri Alander, the 28 car in 19th with Matthias Jensen completing that top 20. Got to scamper through the rest of the names. Elias Reicher, Mads Johansson, Nicholas Laubisch and Michael Jani through the top 24. Christopher Danby, some work to do for him. Oscar Rene, Toby Soriano and Simone Maria Marcheno 4th on the road at the end of Race number 1, lots of work for him to do here today, but the lights are beginning to rev up. The drivers are ready to go racing for 30 more minutes of action, this time at Silverstone. Can Lasseback get a better start this time around? He will do. Mandenok defends from Alexander Spetz, who gets a monster of a launch on the run down into turn number 1. They fight side by side. Lasseback is clear for the race lead as Mandenok now defends the inside line. The Apex Racing Academy car has to watch as Moritz Lohner, who got a good start, tries to swarm his way to the inside. A nice tidy start though through the field of 27 cars. Now on the shortcut to the hangar straight they go, single file inside of the top 10. A bit of chaos, Oliveira around. They manage to get through safely. Marcheno's the one that runs into him. He goes into the barrier, causes chaos in the background. They're side by side up in towards Stowe for third. Spetz now having to defend as Matthias Jensen looking very, very feisty. Lasseback though will lead at the end of lap number 1. What a good start it was for him. This time looking to dominate and control, unlike last time when Luke Bennett was able to work his way through. Mandenok, Spetz, Jensen, Melchers, the rest of the top 5 with Ariel, Nielsen, Montoro, Blainut and Lohner completing the top 10. Some side-by-side action as they work themselves once more in towards turn number 1. It's MSI Esports seeing that action behind Blainut and Lohner, who lost a whole bunch of momentum from inside of the top 4 almost, and now looking to the inside of the Rincon racing machine. Some action further back as well. Lamella, Oscari, Rene, Shrivens, Riker, plenty of fighting. But look at the gap that Lasseback has already managed to build up, asserting his control of the field. 1.2 clear. Outside of the top 10, it's Dylan Burst who's trying to now work his way forward. The Door Esports car. Oh, Moritz Lohner will sweep across and maintain that position, jumping on board now with Damon Woods, who will try and maybe get past his teammate. Burst with that real-world experience and Hyundai excels. I wonder how much that translates over to Porsches. Woods defends from Bosca, and the Williams Academy car around goes the number 10. More drama in the mid-pack of the field here today. Woods will be able to get back and go. Has dropped now down almost 12 full positions. 1.1 the gap at the front, 2 laps out of 28 done. Attacking Gustavo Ariel. Looking in front then is Andre Melchers, jump on board in the number 3 car. Qualified well, did Ariel at the Hockenheim ring, just got involved in the start shenanigans, didn't go well from there. Looking to get the points on the board to build for 2023. He's in the draft, he's looking, but will stay in line for the time being. It's been 3 years of this Porsche Esports Supercup, building up to this 2022 season. Of course, Diogo Pinto, your new Esports Supercup champion, taking over from Joshua Rogers, stepped aside for this year. Now, of course, part of your Porsche Coanda Esports team. Christian Lamella, Oscari Rene trying to fight, but wary of losing track of Nicholas Laubish in front. Noted that Luke Bennett was missing in action for today. Also missing Alexei Nesov, one more of the Urano cars that we saw running quite decently at the Hockenheim ring. Rene with a great run up in towards the village will throw the block pass to get past Lamella. His teammate Alander will take advantage. There goes Johansson, maybe Scrivens as well, all trying to join the party. Back onto the hangar straight they come. Lamella will hold off Johansson for the time being. That was well played by the teammates, bullying their way past the number 15. He's now lost the 2 spots. Might lose a third. The Apex Racing Academy car darts to the inside. Off camber though will open the door for Lamella to squeeze onto the power. He gets bullied past. Now Scrivens fancies a bit of the action as well. Into the Vale, almost door to door. One of the Monaco Esports cars locking up as, well, Elias Riker opened the door for Christopher Dambeats to try and squeak on through. Dambeats has really not made too much ground just yet. Back onto the pit straight they come, working to lap 5 of 28. If you're watching on RaceSpotTV, who are you cheering for? Let us know where you're watching from. Always good to know who's got the fan base in this qualifying series. We check in with Oscar Mangan in the famed Falcon colors. decently in split 2 last time. Now up to this top split. It's why, even if you're not in this top split in week 1, you've got to make sure you stick around. Good points from Mangan on the board, inside of the top 20 in the points. Runs 14th for the time being. Still some work to do for the Irishman. Tucks up behind Benso, Bosca, then Burse. That's the route through, forward in towards the top 10. Let's go back in time, and since it's settled down, let's cycle through some of the replays of the start. If it's anything like it was 7 days ago, it was a start that was frenetic and then calmed down from there. So this is going to be what happened to Oliveira in the Oak Racing Team machine. I'm not sure if there's contact or if he loops it on the power. Then you see Maria Marcheno get clipped once by the Oak Racing Team car, and then subsequently, after the contact had already been made, we'll take the look from up above. This will give us a great look. Ooh, he gets squeezed by Bosca, and then, yeah, you just see Marcheno just trying to stay out of trouble. It was never really going to work. We'll grab a couple more looks at it, because I can tell you not really too much happening. You just see the aftermath as they all just try and get through safely. You hear from up above, Marcheno into the wall. I think the best way to describe that, probably just a little bit clumsy. Then we'll take a look at what happened to young Damon Woods. Was looking to the inside of his teammate, Bosca committed. You can't go too wide around here. There is the tiniest touch of air between the two of them. It was Damon Woods that then paid the price. Just got a note on my timing screen as well. Looked like one non-starter. I didn't note that and was a little confused. Matthias Jensen. One of the two Matthias Jensens that we've got in the field. Not confusing at all. I think he might have had a technical issue, but I believe he is back out on track as we work lap 7 of 28. A couple of Gustavo Ariel fans cheering him on as he runs in 6. Michael Yanni fans, as he tries to build some points after what was a tough round 1. He's down in 24th. Fair to say that qualifying didn't really go his way this time around. In terms of the winners and losers, excuse me, one strikes me in particular, Ascari Rene. Standing starts, of course. Getting these cars off the line is a crucial skill to know. And so for Ascari Rene in that 13 Kova machine, he's plus 10 inside of your top 16 now. His teammate Valtteri Alander right behind him. 2021 ISO WC champion. Can do it in the open wheels. You know, he can do it here in these tin tops as well. A winner in your BMW Sim GT Cup here in 2022. Step closer to BMW Sim Live. There's no double race format like you see in the Esports Supercup with the shorter sprint, top 8 invert, and then the longer feature race. This is just a around 30-minute dash for these drivers. Should clock out at about 30 minutes, 28 laps. Tire management is always important. How much lateral slide can you put through the car without burning through the tires? Relatively limited setup options. That's not to say that maybe some teams will try different stuff. It's not always going to work. It's, I think, fair to say that as well. Gap out front is closed. Lasse back. Not reeled in by any means, but now only about 6/10 clear of the young Frenchman, Valentin Mandanac. Jump on board with that R8G car as he works himself down in towards Stowe under the bridge. You can see it is single filed and they're not really split by much. You've got 10 seconds splitting just about 20 cars. So if there is anyone that makes a mistake, the door is wide open for people to pick up the pieces. It's not about winning, it's about accumulating points. Lasse back a little bit wide on the run through the first part of the Vale. This time at the line, it's a 103.8 for back, 103.7 for Mandanac. It's a 10th here, it's a 10th there, but they add up side by side in the battle for 18th position, Christian Lamela continues to struggle. He throws the block, though, onto Dylan Strivens, who's trying to fight to get past Mads Johansson as they work through turn one. The Urano car slides through. Now Elias Riker thinks he can go around the outside of the Apex Racing Academy car. That's a power move. Dan beats through as well. I wonder if there's a slowdown because that Academy car is being awfully courteous. Now elects to get a little bit more physical. Will stop the run for the German. Dan beats back into line. Lamela through that sequence lost 1.5 to Valtteri Alander, so they've got to now focus up and try and build to the group in front. Toby Soriano, I think, trying to have a look down low on Dan Beats in the red line car. Dan Beats, a series veteran, gonna hold off for now. Will hold the inside as well into the final complex at the Vale. And he will just run Soriano out of room, nice and tidy. Mandenak is breaking away from Spets. He's closed on back, the gap now down to under half a second. A couple of Mads Johansson fans, a David Bosga supporter as well, watching on RaceSpotTV. 10 laps in the books in this second round of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup qualifying series. On the shortcut back to the hangar straight, working just short of the grass. Drivers being very, very careful not to advertise their lawnmower services here today. Oskari Rine loses out to Nicholas Laubish in that 24 car. What a run it was for Laubish in a different sort of a GT Porsche. It was the GT3 car, the full-blooded GT3 car, as he won the SEO Endurance Series in GT3s over this winter. Sure, there's plenty that can be carried over. Gustavo Ariel in front of Andre Melchers. Not much defense put up by the R8G driver, obviously knowing that you don't want to lose the time to those in front. Well and truly still in the touching distance. On board with Mandenak we go now. Look how he's closed, within 3 car lengths of your race leader. To the brakes they go once more. Nice and tidy, the R8G driver works onto the power. Lasse back. Pole 7 days ago, and then into turn one, Luke Bennett took the lead. He's led for 12 almost laps so far, and he continued to do so. If you have any questions about how important this qualifying series is to drivers, even after Simona Maria Marcheno's lap 1 accident, he is still on track, albeit with, I think, a terminally damaged race car, as he'll take a tow back to pit lane, doing anything he can to get the qualifying points on the board. Battle between Laubish and Rine isn't done. The Urano car holds on, and I think Rine had a bit of a moment there. 12 laps now done of the 28. 2 seconds splits Mangan from Laubish, so it's 14th on forward. That is your leading pack. No major gaps between any of them. Laubish blocks the path for Oskari Rine. Still thinking about a slide to the inside. It's dropping them into the clutches of Christian Lamela. At one point the gap was 1.5 between 17th and 18th. It's down to 0.3 of a second. It really is a bottleneck right now. Now 2.3 away from Mangan. I think feels the pressure is to close to those in front. He slides past the Monaco Esports driver of Lauren Benzo, but for the lead, within a car length, it is. Mandenak versus back. Spets, Jensen, Ariel have closed as well. The pace has slowed from back, who now has seen the lap times increase to the 104s. A 104.003, yes, 3,000s, excuse me, over the bracket. But lost almost a 10.5 just to Mandenak. Move behind, Jensen to the inside of Spets. Through the village they work. The Academy car with the red wing mirrors backs out of it for now. We've been seeing the rise of Jensen, not just since his team up with the Apex Racing Academy, but even before, part of the Tronsskolen program that we've been very much enjoying here at RaceSpotTV, a boarding school with a sim racing program, side by side. Jensen will throw it to the inside at Stowe, trying to push Spets wide, who will keep the inside line on the run to the Vale. Ariel has a great view as he closes in this battle for the final step of the podium. Doesn't switch around. The gap grows above a second, though, up to second. Ariel, with plenty of supporters watching him on today, as they think about the move into the village. Halfway through this second round of this Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup qualifying race. Jensen running out wide, just not having as much grip as he did at the start, just carrying the speed, maybe a little further distance. Works out okay for him. Toby Soriano getting word he's in front of Christopher Dambeats, but you can see just how much separation there is now. As through up to Stowe, they'll climb once more. Big gaggle of cars fighting for points, yes, but not many points. The good points are being paid at the front of this 28-car field right now. It is still a lead pack that stretches back, you would say, to Dylan Burst in 11th. 4 seconds splits those 11 cars. It's stacked up behind the Williams Esports driver of Alexander Spets, his first race of this qualifying series. Mandenok not going for it just yet, as Mads Johansson in the Apex Racing Academy number 8 car will go around. So maybe getting involved in a battle with Michael Yanni, Kake Oliveira, because I see they are quite close with one another. I'll try and grab a look on the RaceSpotTV replay machine when we can. It's still close though. There aren't too many moves being attempted just yet. I really start to wonder when that will start to be. Now there's chaos. There is chaos. Lamella's around. Rene's lost a whole bunch of positions. Defends from Soriano. It is starting to pick up in intensity. It didn't do this at the Hockenheimring. Drivers knew that in a 6-round championship, points accumulation was going to be so important. Today, maybe a little bit more willing to get frisky. So let's pick up what happened in this incident that saw Mads Johansson go around. He's fighting with the 27 of Toby Soriano, and again, we've seen multiple bits of contact through there. It's not the first time. I'm sure it won't be the last time that the real or virtual worlds, that second cutback at Vale will prove to cause issues. Now we'll have to try and figure out what happened with Oscari Rene and Christian Lamella. It wasn't too far after that, to be fair. Let's grab a look here. So Rene tries the look to the inside of Laubish. Doesn't work. Gets a little bit squirrely, checks up, Lamella doesn't see it in time. Around they go. Rene gets lucky that he does a perfect almost 360 pirouette and able to get back onto the power. That would have been a nervy moment for them. Not knowing where the oncoming pack was, we'll slow it down and we'll look one more time at this. Just see if anyone was closer. It would have been a hard-in-mouth moment, very similar to what we almost had at the Hockenheimring on lap 1 through the shortcut that we had there. Halfway down the run into the traditional sharp hairpin turn at, what is it, turn 5 or so. Next time by will be 10 laps to go. Mandenok still patiently hunting down Lasse back, knowing that the points matter more than the win. Of course, Valentin Mandenok is someone that has experienced World Championship competition. We saw him in the Force Dynamics Dallara iRacing Grand Prix Championship Series, to give it its full name, full and correct and proper name, but he's definitely someone that has been just getting quicker and quicker as he's built up. Not sure if he was technically part of the RAG Academy initially, but Romain Grosjean, after a tough day at the office at the Brickyard, can always flick on RaceSpotTV and see his young French driver in second, the German Andre Melcher's in 6th as well. Overall, not a bad day for the 2 RAG cars that we expect to see through the course of this qualifying series. Mandanot got, 4 top 5s in his first World Championship season. Not a bad run at all. Very different sort of a car to what he's having to tame here today. Focused on his teammate in Andre Melchers. In front of Kevin Nielsen, winner of Split 2 last week. Third in the points. But in front of them is Gustavo Ariel. Mentioned the struggles that he had at the Hockenheim ring. Consolidating this top 5 spot. Going to be oh so important. 9 to go at the line for your leader, Lasse Back. We'll flick over to the 20th lap of this race. $400 points or so was awarded to our winner a week ago. To put that into some context, if you watch our Monday Night IndyCar Series action where we have the best of the iRacing IndyCar community show out, we usually get the winner score 250 points. We are almost doubling that in terms of the strength of field, in terms of the points on the line, and that's why I just wonder, if you are missing a race, what does that do to your qualifying chances? How will that impact your mindset for the rest of the season? As the gaggle for 19th, 18th on back continues to rumble. It's Rene now down outside of the top 20 after working his way commandingly forward. To his outside will go Elias Riker, committed. Will be the Monaco Esports number 14, will get it done as well. Maybe covering now off the move from the 22. Kake Oliveira pirouetted on lap 1, fighting for championship points, and now almost bangs doors with Damon Woods as they sweep through the final corner. What a battle that is! 2 wide, 2 rows deep, almost 3 wide. Yanni, the 19, trying to find a way through. It's not for a lack of effort, I tell you that what. Riker almost into the grass in turn 1. Defends the inside as Rene will look once more to find a way past. Bumper cars played between Rene and Oliveira. Oliveira loses some ground. Woods thinks about trying the move on board the Apex Racing Academy car. What a fun fight this is. What a shame it's not happening at the front of the field. Although having said that, Mandanot, the gap having grown to half a second, has brought it back now down to just over 2.5 tenths of a second for your race lead. The black and grey of Ascari Rene now trying to do what was done to him 1 lap ago. He won't commit and get it done initially, but has the inside into the Vale. What a move it will be if he can slide through. Has to give the space. Always, in the words of Fernando Alonso, you must leave the space. Space was left. Looks like Valtteri Alander might have some technical issues as he drops down the timing screens. If it's out of his control, that's the ultimate frustration. In that grouping that he was in, it does seem to be a transient issue. Now, will it stabilize in time for Alander to be scored inside of the top 15 where he is now? That is where the stress will be. If you're watching this on RaceSpotTV, so glad that you joined us this Saturday. It's a busy weekend of motorsports. We've got the 24 hours of Spa, the doubleheader at the Brickyard with IndyCar and NASCAR, heading over to Speedway, Indiana. Plenty to tickle your fancy on a great weekend, the last of July, always circled in any race fans' books. Does look as though Alander has been able to get that technical issue sorted out. He has lost some ground to the group that he was in. Not too far in front now, unfortunately, of the Urano duo of Nicholas Laubish and Dylan Shrivens. We focus on second. Mandanot hunting. Back still really doing a solid job after second at the Hockenheim ring. That pole position being lost on the start, struggling to get it off the line. Seems to have solved that today. If the pass is going to happen, it's going to be because Mandanot had more speed on the longer run. Behind them, Jensen in that Apex Academy car. What a drive it's been for him today with the red highlights on that number 12. Alexander Spets in front of him, one of the few in the 10K iRating club here on the roadside of iRacing. He breaks out the main account again on this road to the World Championship. Gustavo Ariel has the look to the inside of Jensen. Jensen going defensive, squeezes the number 3, the Texaco Esports car. Back in line for now. You can tell with 4 to go at the line this time by, there is mounting tension from drivers. Time is winding down in the second race. It's not been such a slipstream fest, to be honest. The Red Bull Ring, with the shortened layout, it will definitely be less of a slipstream fest than what we've seen today. Benzo and Mangan outside of the top 10, fighting for 13th. Watch these two. Benzo not getting great points last time out. Mangan second split, but did finish up inside of the top 10. It's what he will want to see. Blainart Lohner fighting alongside. Moritz Lohner will get on through as the Rincon racing car will make the mistake, promotes not just Lohner, Dylan Burse on through, and maybe David Bosger as the Williams Esports Academy car fires it down the inside. Confidence from the 26 up into 11th. What a move that one was. Couple more laps for Blainart in the 25 to try and recover. See how his tires are doing after the mistake that he had. Overcommitted in turn 1. Front of the field. 2 tenths. Half a car length. Lasse back. Valentin Mandenok. Fire Simsport RAG ready to fight. 3 laps to go at Silverstone next time by. You get the sense that Mandenok is feeling the rhythm more and more as they work through the race. Look at the balance of the steering. So controlled, so composed. Minimizing the amount of lock needed, rotating the car, using the inputs where possible. Oh, it's wonderful to see. It's also good to see that I retired at a good time, because the level of sim racing just climbs higher and higher, seemingly day in and day out. Cutting a little bit as they shortcut back onto the hangar straight once more. 2 to go at the line. Mandenok lost a bit of ground through the mid-sector this time. Blainart, another mistake at the tail end of the lead pack. He will consolidate 12th. Has to be looking backwards. Benzo Mangan not too far behind. This qualifying series will take drivers the tracks that they'll see in basically every competition they are in. However, they go to formats that maybe will present slightly different thoughts to the racecraft. Where do you look for moves? How do you position your cars at the right time? 2 to go. On board with REG's Valentin Mandenok again through turn 1. Flat to the floor as they break at the 100 into turn 3. Valtteri Alander's technical issues seem to have risen up once more. You'll be hoping that for about 6 or so, 7 kilometers, virtual kilometers albeit, it can hold on. It's not looking promising. We'll keep you tracked on that. Spets, a terrible run. Back onto the hangar straight. It's single file for the top 2, but it's a side-by-side battle for 3rd. The Apex Racing Academy car commits to the outside. Jensen has been minding the tires, able to get the grip around the outside. Commit and gets 3rd. Jensen around the outside of Stowe will rip away the podium from Alexander Spets. What a move it was, and with significance to the Williams Esports car. Missing the points from week 1. Those are a couple of points that he very well could have wanted. White flag in hand. 1 lap to go at Silverstone. Round 2 of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup qualifying series. It's a quarter of a second that splits the top 2. Still looking though at Jensen in that battle for 3rd as he tries to defend from the train that's built up behind. The top 2 will cut their way back onto the hangar. A second back plus now. Matthias Jensen will snake back and forth like he was at Indianapolis at the end of the Indy 500. No move forthcoming from Valentin Mandenok, who thought about it for a second, but thought better of it on the road to the World Championship. For Lasse back, it's the ultimate redemption. Pole position a week ago was ripped away into turn 1 as Luke Bennett sailed to victory. 7 days later, pole position and flag-to-flag victory at Silverstone. Lasse back takes one more step on the road to the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup. What a drive from the Fire Sim Sport number 7. Valentin Mandenot kept him honest though. Good points accumulated for the young Frenchman for RAG. And give a shout out to Matthias Jensen in that Apex Racing Academy car with a around the outside pass at Stowe to steal away a podium from Alexander Spetz. Gustavo Ariel, Andre Melchers, Kevin Nielsen, Gabby Monturo, Moritz Lohner, and Dylan Burst complete the rest of the top 10. What a race it was! If you were watching on RaceSpotTV, did your driver make it where they wanted? Did they get into trouble? Let us know how you thought about the second race of this qualifying series. Great drive from Lasse back. If qualifying is anything to go on, he is the one to beat. With 2 races out of 6 in the books, Lasse back will celebrate once more, this time though, as a winner in this Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup qualifying series. Silverstone always brings the action. It brought some entertaining racing in the mid-pack of the race. I think it's fair to say in some ways that the front 2 a little bit more reserved until the penultimate lap, until Matthias Jensen stuck it around the outside of Alexander Spetz. Well, hopefully, as we work into some post-race coverage, we will be joined by some of these drivers, maybe your podium sitters, to get their thoughts, but let's run you down through your race results. 28 laps later, Lasse back punches his way into the victory circle. For the Fire Sim Sport team, 3/10 clear of Valentin Mandenot for RAG. Matthias Jensen got it done around the outside of Alexander Spetz to build on the performance that he had a week ago. Spetz, his first points on the board on the road to the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. Gustavo Ariel struggled at the Hockenheim ring, but gets those points on the board here today in the top 5. It's a good day for RAG. Melchers inside of the top 6. After winning split 2, Kevin Nielsen brings his number 20 into this top split and finishes 7th. With a good day for Fire Sim Sport, Gabby Monturo, the best of the MSI Esport machines, back in 8th. Moritz Lohner, Door Esports, represented as he gets into the top 10 in front of the young Dylan Burst for Vendaval Sim Racing. David Bosca for the Williams Esports Academy car had a couple good moves. He gets into 11th in front of the Rincon Racing machine of Juan Blainart. Monaco Esports and Lauren Benzo in 13th in front of Oscar Mangan in the familiar turquoise and blue, number 23. 14, Valtteri Alander was able to hold on just to 15th spot in front of Nicholas Laubish and Dylan Shrivens, the Urano Esports duo. Christopher Dambeat struggled in qualifying, not able to convert into a great drive through the field, but 18th, at least for him, working up a couple of spots in front of Toby Soriano and Oscari Rene around through the shortcut, but inside of the top 20 after a poor qualifying, at least by his standards. Elias Riker for Monaco Esports finishes 21st with Kake Oliveira, the 22 in 22nd. Michael Yanni in front of his Apex Racing Academy compatriot Mads Johansson, 23rd and 24th positions. Damon Woods, the final car to finish for the Vendaval Sim Racing number 10. But Matthias Jensen, the VG Racing Esports car, did not get to the line. Some technical issues rearing their head at the most inopportune time. Was able to get on track, albeit finishing 6 laps down. Christian Lamella and Simona Maria Marcheno for MSI and Altus, our 2 retirees here today, will be slightly frustrated. Fastest lap punched in by Valentin Mandenot for the Roman Grosjean Esports team. There was pace in that car, but in a battle that is worthy of a World Championship, why not wait till they get to the heights of the Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. It was a fascinating race, maybe not as chaotic and jam-packed with action at the front as we would have thought. The question will be, as we head to the Red Bull Ring to the Styrian Mountains 7 days from now, how the race will be playing out. We'll be using the National A layout, if I remember correctly, or maybe it's just the National layout. National A was the Hockenheim Ring, but it means that the amount of draft is going to get chopped down very significantly. Is it going to be any significant passes at the front of the field. For the third straight week, could we be looking at a rather pedestrian race at the front? Drivers scrambling for points at the back. You'll have to find out here live on RaceSpotTV, August the 6th, 6:45 p.m. UTC, 2:45 p.m. Eastern, 11:45 a.m. Pacific. Wherever you are around the world, join us for the fun. It should be electric for what is bound to be another race where qualifying is going to be important. Of course, after the Red Bull Ring, we'll be halfway through this run to the Porsche Esports Supercup Contender Series. Of course, out of this, 15 contenders will rise at the end of August through to the Contender Series, where they'll fight with drivers who finish 16th through 30th in the 2022 Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup. So there's plenty left to play for, and even after these 6 races, there is a long way to go for the 15 that emerge to solidify their step, then solidify their claim to a berth as a World Championship driver, to a berth as one of esports' best. But from Silverstone, it was a relatively quiet race, and no switch-arounds for the lead this time around, but Lasse back able to convert from pole position, walking away a winner here at Silverstone. It's going to wrap up our coverage, though, of the 2022 Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Supercup Qualifying Series Round 2 here at Silverstone. On behalf of the team at RaceSpotTV, delighted to have your company here today. We'll see you next time at the Red Bull Ring, but for now, my name is Arjuna Kankipati, signing off from the home of British motorsports, where Lasse Back walks away a race winner. Flag-to-flag victory, a dominant display from the Heuer Sim Sports driver. So long and goodbye. We'll see you next week.